Back from the break, and I promised you I'd show you some more patches. Okay, now, some of the things that I do here, I'm going to go across to a couple of other things that I really like playing with. This is an orchestral harp. Now, some of the things that I do here, you've got to remember that they're going into an interface unit that is often used for other things, like these sounds on the laptop are often triggered by keyboards. So you can keep your finger on the key. But I have a staccato instrument in the sense that once I hit the note, that's the end of it. So some patches don't work as well as others. But one that I do find quite nice is an orchestral harp. And that's a bit dramatic, but if I go now to a Lydian mode, which is a wonderful little mode, and this Lydian mode gives me this beautiful sound, and what that is. But a Lydian mode has a sharpened fourth in it. So if you think of it like a major scale, but the fourth step is sharpened. So think of it like a good old C major scale with an F sharp in it. Okay, so that's what happens with that. Now, once I've got that kind of sound, something there for you. I might turn it down just a little bit because I think you're getting the idea now. And what's happening is that's an orchestral harp. Now, when I'm playing stuff like that, that's really gentle and laid back. But even with the gentleness and the laid backedness, what we have is a certain kind of complexity underneath it, we see, which is what we sort of get in. I have to be a little bit careful about where I use the bass drum here, because it gives me the tonic note. And if I'm up in the air and I play a tonic note, it'll bring me back down to earth a little bit. See there? So I'm playing. As well as rhythms. This is all paradiddle based, but my right hand is giving the bass tone. see? So that was just a little something where the melody was happening between here. And there you go. And I was sort of working between the two and working down. So I was like... That is working, isn't it? Thank you. So a Lydian mode is very dreamy. Lydian modes are quite interesting for jazz because when I was studying in my teens like crazy, the big thing at the time was a thing called the Lydian, George Russell's Lydian chromatic concept. And he was talking about the Lydian mode being, to a certain point, the center of things. Now, because the Lydian mode has a sharpened fourth in it, which is the distinctive note, otherwise if it's just a normal fourth, it's a major scale. But with the sharpened fourth, what you're actually doing is, say, if you're playing the C Lydian mode, you're playing C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. What are you really doing? You're playing the G major scale in a C major tonality. So what happens is that this kind of thinking actually pervade throughout all the jazz that I was listening to. Like I was hearing snippets of it with Miles Davis and a lot of the people of the 60s. The actual concept by George Russell was put together in the mid-50s, and it started to take hold, and some of that extended harmony that we hear in jazz really came into its own throughout the 60s. And that's really what I'm sort of doing here, and I just happen to love it with an orchestral harp, that kind of thing. Patch. So it really gives me that kind of a sound. You see? There you go. More of this after the break, hey? Okay. Right.